Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, February 17th, 2022. I'm Keith Tebow. How will Fall River schools handle the lifting of the school mask mandate? Fall River now has a full-time school superintendent, and former Mayor Jasiel Correia is granted yet another delay in reporting to prison. All this and more coming up. Last week, the State Department of Elementary and Secondary Education announced that the mask mandate in K-12 schools will be lifted effective February 28th. The ruling allows for local school districts to decide whether to extend the mask mandate after that date. Here's a look now at how Fall River schools will handle lifting the school mask mandate. The Fall River Public Schools, Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School, and the Atlantis Charter School will all lift the mandate effective Monday, March 14th. Schools within the Diocese of Fall River will actually have their mandate lifted right away on February 28th. The Argosy Collegiate Charter School has yet to make a decision on when it will lift the school mask mandate. They're expected to vote on the matter sometime next week. The Fall River Public Schools made its decision to lift the mandate on March 14th in consultation with city health officials and employee unions. It also is based on history and next week's school break.
Certainly, we looked at our past history when we returned from Thanksgiving break as well as from Christmas break. Those are extended periods of time where people gather together, a little more exposure. And we did see some spikes, so we're trying to be proactive and preventative. So our recommendation was to make sure that we do exercise the right to, parents to opt out or adults to opt out at some point. But we want to be cautiously optimistic and say, let's give ourselves a 2-week window where we can, after coming back from a break, perhaps traveling, some people can mask up for 2 weeks so we can keep those numbers going in the right direction and then move ourselves forward.
Pont says parents in general are supportive of lifting the mask mandate. It also continues the process of returning city schools to a place of normalcy.
Our students haven't seen one another. They really have not seen, for extended periods of time, their teachers' faces. I think that in instruction, when articulating, it's important for kids to see one another and to the expressions, et cetera. So I just think that we welcome that change. I think that that's something that was very much needed, and I think that it's time.
Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School also set March 14th as the day the mask mandate will be lifted, citing the same concerns about a potential spike in cases following next week's vacation. Diamond Superintendent Dr. Elvio Ferreira tells us parents have expressed mixed approval of the news to end the mandate.
So communication has come from both sides. We've had several students and parents thank us for the decision that was made, and the 14th being the date that it's lifted. We've had some folks come out and say, why did we make that decision, knowing that the governor and the commissioner are giving the 28th of February as that date. So we've had input from both sides. And again, we respect everybody's opinion and understand that there are feelings both ways. Our decisions really do just come down to what is the most appropriate steps for us to keep everybody on our campus as safe as possible. So that way we don't have a situation that forces us to have to close either due to staff shortage or, if there's a contamination issue and a widespread that we have to close and spray down the campus or anything like that. So
the schools under the purview of the Diocese of Fall River is the only system to lift the mandate after next week's vacation on February 28th. Superintendent Daniel Roy tells us Catholic schools returned in person earlier than most and are prepared to move forward right away.
We opened in late August of 2020 with in-person learning here in the diocese, and our schools got very good. Our schools got very good at being safe places that followed protocols. We had great buy-in from parents, from students, from teachers, from leaders. It was an experience that really strengthened us. That's not to say that there weren't challenges along the way, but our schools became strong and they became resilient in the way that they navigated the pandemic in the 2020-2021 school year. So coming into this year, of course, the Omicron virus, the Omicron variant was a big surprise. Certainly it threw all of us, across the state and country for a loop. But we have managed that, and I think we've managed it well because we are so practiced at this.
Mr. Roy says the district will monitor changes in case rates in the 11 communities across the region which hosts a Catholic school and make changes to its policy if necessary. The State Department of Public Health announced this week that its recommendation on mask wearing indoors will now only fall on those with underlying health issues and the unvaccinated. Masks will continue to be mandated at hospitals, congregate care facilities, and on public transportation and airports. News of the lifting of the school mask mandate comes on the heels of more encouraging COVID infection numbers statewide and here in Fall River. Here's an update now on how COVID-19 stands in the city based on numbers released last Thursday, February 10th. The city saw another significant decrease in new COVID cases last week. 333 new cases of the virus were reported, a drop of more than half of the 688 new cases the week prior. Vaccinations are still at the same rate from the last report, 68% of city residents having received at least one dose of the vaccine, and 60% fully vaccinated. Only 24% of city residents have received the COVID vaccine booster. With school vacation next week, the city is hosting more vaccine clinics in the hopes to get more children vaccinated. You can find out more on where to get the vaccine for free by visiting frvax.com or by calling 833-8VAX-NOW. That's 833-882-9669. COVID testing also remains important. Testing is available at local pharmacies or at the state's Stop the Spread location at Bristol Community College. More news from the Fall River Public Schools. The school committee on Monday also voted unanimously to appoint Maria Ponce as the full-time superintendent. Ponce served in an interim role since last July, following the resignation last year of Matthew Malone. Mayor Paul Coogan feels Ponce has earned the right to be appointed full-time, while Ponce herself is appreciative in the vote of confidence.
Obviously, Maria is a lifelong Fall River educator, whether it's private or public. She's been around for a long time, and she has experience at every grade level. She does a great job of comforting people and working with our young staff to try to teach them the proper ways to deliver education to our kids. And again, she's been in all the buildings. She's got a good team there. She's very, very aware of what's going on in the city of Fall River. She's very, very aware of what's going on in the state of Massachusetts. And she works well with others. I don't think we're going to have, obviously, I'm not going back to the old superintendent as any kind of a measuring stick, but she should, just by the way she respectfully deals with adults and children and parents. She brings those strengths to the table, and she's done a great job with the committee in an interim role, and it was unanimous. I think everybody felt the same way. She gets back to people, she follows through, and her first concern is the kids, and that's what we're looking for.
I'm humbled, and I'm thankful to the community, the school committee, for their confidence in me. I mean, I've been in the work. I've been doing the job. Certainly, I think that the title might change, but the work continues. There's still a lot of work to be done. The priority is to continue to stabilize this district. We have so much to be proud of in our district, and I think that we need to highlight and showcase all the good that's going on in our district. We need to reculture ourselves, to create a district that's inclusive of everyone and is really a high, really high, holds itself to the highest standards.
Ponce's appointment is effective through June 30th, at which time a new long-term contract will be negotiated. Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School this week received the approval from town meeting voters in Somerset to move ahead in constructing its new $293 million school at its location on Stonehaven Road. The Diamond School Committee last week voted to accept an extension from the state that will give the school more time to seek approval from the 4 communities it serves. The new date to seek approval is now July 15th.
We did not want any community to feel like they were being rushed. There are obviously regulations and procedures that they have to worry about to ensure that any action they take is legal and appropriate. And we did not want the living communities to feel like they had to rush through this or make a decision that wasn't in their best interest because they were up against a timeline. So our school committee decided to accept the extension and really honor the spirit of communication and collaboration and transparency with all 4 Sunny communities, so they have the ability to do what's most appropriate for them and their residents moving forward.
Swansea and Westport have joined Somerset, indicating their approval of the project. Fall River is the lone community yet to weigh in. Dr. Ferreira will present a full presentation on the construction project and cost to the City Council at its Finance Committee meeting next Tuesday. If the City Council votes no on the new school, Diamond has the right to seek a region-wide referendum vote to move the project forward. Dr. Ferreira says the extension seeking community approval will grant the school enough time to organize a referendum and garner support from local voters.
A quicker vote, a sooner decision from Fall River obviously gives us a greater window to do what we have to do to make sure we have everything lined up so that the regional vote goes off and we have a decision and everything in place, certified results, documented situations by that July 15th deadline. Again, there isn't a great angst on our side to force people to act quicker than they feel they have to. But knowing the timeline and the schedule, we do have a few earmarked dates that a decision would be most appropriate. So that way our district has the ability to go to our school committee to make the decision to go to a regional vote and then take all the actions necessary to make sure that vote is binding and appropriate.
If there is a region-wide referendum vote, Diamond would be required to reimburse the communities for the cost of holding that election. Former Fall River Mayor Jasiel Correia late last week was granted another delay to report to federal prison. The new reporting date is by noon Friday, March 4th. Local attorney Stephen Sabre says U.S. District Court Judge Douglas Woodlock approved the delay, granting in part a motion by defense attorneys to allow Correia to stay out of prison until it files briefs before the U.S. First Circuit Court of Appeals.
The judge seemed to tie it into the appellate process that's going on presently, because apparently the defense has asked for, it looks like, at least 3 extensions to file their brief in the First Circuit Court of Appeals. So now their brief is due February 28th, and the judge referenced that in his order to allow the defendant to stay out of jail until March 4th. Although there's a caveat to that, in the sense that the judge also indicated in his order that he hasn't decided this motion to stay sentence pending appeal that's before him, and that the parties need to be ready to respond to that or appeal that if and when he decides that motion.
Still before Judge Woodlock is a defense motion from last fall seeking a stay in Correia's sentence until after his appeal.
What Judge Woodlock has to decide is really whether or not the defense has either a likelihood of success on appeal, or that there were novel issues that he had to deal with, and that the appellate courts haven't really dealt with before, and therefore it would be unfair to have the defendant go to prison before those issues were decided by an appellate court. I think that's what he has to really struggle with.
Attorney Sabre wonders whether Judge Woodlock will use the details of the defense appeal brief to decide whether to grant that stay.
I would think that what they're going to argue in their brief is going to be very similar to what they've already argued in the district court before Judge Woodlock. Remember, they've already argued a motion for new trial, and they've already filed briefs in that regard, and they filed lengthy briefs with all their arguments. So, although it seems like he's waiting for that brief by the defense, in this case they're called the appellant because they're the ones that are appealing the conviction. It doesn't. I don't understand why he would necessarily have to wait for that argument. Although, it seems like he is tying it into their filing of their brief.
Saber says if Judge Woodlock does not grant a stay of prison sentence pending appeal, Correia can appeal that ruling to the appellate court. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Billing Research Analyst. Family Service Association, located at 101 Rock Street, seeks a full-time billing research analyst to work with accounting staff to reconcile revenue, payments, and receivable variances. Job number 162-20660. Title IV Compliance Officer. Bristol Community College, located at 777 Ellsbury Street, is looking for a full-time Title IV Compliance Officer to oversee the administration of federal and state grant, loan, and student employment programs to ensure compliance with all regulatory agencies. Job number 162-38906. Notary Email Marketing Specialist. Certified Mobile Notary Service is seeking a full or part-time notary email marketing specialist responsible for overseeing and owning the end-to-end development and deployment of all email campaigns by working remotely in the Fall River area. Job number 162-43441. Restaurant Associate, Taco Bell Cantina, located at 150 Plymouth Avenue, is looking for a full-time restaurant associate. For more information, call 774-294-0780. South Coast Health System, located at 363 Highland Avenue, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Clinical Technician, job number 162-57405. Mobile Phlebotomist, job number 162-57409. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The State House of Representatives yesterday voted to approve a bill that would allow undocumented individuals in the Commonwealth to obtain a driver's license. Fall River State Representative Alan Sylvia had been an opponent to such a bill in the past, but voted in favor of this version, citing support from local law enforcement and elements that will improve public safety.
We've had increased numbers of hit-and-run accidents in the past. And the reason for the hit-and-run accidents is because an undocumented individual is driving. They're driving an uninsured vehicle. They're driving because they want to get to work. They want to drop the kids off at school. If they're involved in an accident, most of them will flee the scene because they don't want to have to deal with the police and get arrested for operating a vehicle without a license, and so they flee. This now will ensure that those people who have the right documentation, and I say documentation because they have to have either a passport, an expired passport, or a certificate from their consulate, a foreign consulate, to prove that they are who they are. So the license will actually prove who they are, so a police officer will know their identity. They will have to take a road test, like everyone else does, and a written test.
The bill will not automatically register undocumented individuals to vote. The bill now heads to the Senate. As the legislature continues its work, Fall River State Representative Carol Feil is looking forward to meeting some of her goals for the year. One of them is maximizing opportunities and funding coming out of the pandemic.
We know our restaurants, our hospitality businesses, they've been like a yo-yo. They have no idea what's been hit, what's going on. They've been hit every which way. So we're going to continue to look at the ARPA funds this year, talking about priorities. And we still have a couple of $2 billion more to spend of that ARPA money in the state. Just like the city has funds that they've allocated some already. Well, we do too. We've allocated already about $4 billion. We're going to do about $2 billion more. And so we're listening. What are the priorities that we need to take care of? And they change sometimes. And this pandemic, of course, has been a huge game changer.
Representative Feil is also looking to build upon some of the economic development opportunities here in Fall River.
South Coast Rail and Route 79, another $80 million project for Fall River. We are constantly looking at what are the needs of this community. So that always is my priority. What can we do to enhance not only the quality of life for our residents, in general. So we'll be looking at so many things. It's the housing issue, right? It's, education remains a priority. Public safety remains a priority. These are things that we want to ensure that we have a close eye on. And we get all these ideas and what we do from our constituents.
Governor Charlie Baker was in Somerset today to celebrate an agreement to utilize the former Brayton Point power plant site to host an offshore wind manufacturing facility. The Prysmian Group will construct a facility to manufacture subsea transmission cables that will connect offshore wind turbines to the regional power grid. Prysmian Vice President Hakan Osman says the project provides a great opportunity not only for his company, but also the South Coast.
I'm very excited that we will have here with our neighbors. We are going to explain to our neighbors. We are going to embrace them. We need them. We need also the skillful engineers that we are going to train, and we need I think it will be about 250 people that we will need. I'm talking about direct people. This will create also additional jobs in the periphery. And this investment is going to be between, I think, about 250 million, but no investment stays with 250. Raw material prices are going up, everything goes up. I think we will come about 300 million investment at the end.
We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today with us we have Miss Cinderella. She is roughly about 3 years old. She's a little nervous right now. We just moved her in a free room, so she's still just trying to adapt. She does get along with other cats. She would not do well in a home with other dogs, even if they are calm. She would probably do better in a quieter type environment. She just went to hide because she is a little nervous. We do have quite a few dogs barking in the kennels, and this is a new room for her, so it does take her a little bit to adapt. Once she does feel comfortable and she gets to know you, she's really sweet. And if you would like to come meet Cinderella, give us a call at Forever Paws Animal Shelter and make an appointment to come meet her. I know she would really like to meet you.
Today we have Pickles. He is a year and a half. He is a pit bull. He's been with us for 6 months. He has a lot of puppy tendencies, so he is going to need some training. His family would need to own their own home. Also, preferably a fenced-in yard so he can run around in. He is overall a really good boy. Loves getting treats. The only command that I'm finding out is he likes to sit. He is deaf, so he can't hear. Hand gestures are the way that we have been training him. Sit. Good boy. But other than sit, I think that's the only command he knows. He is really good on leash. He is a little pulley, but with the right training, he can get over that. If you want to come and meet Pickles, come down to 300 Linwood Street at Forever Paws Animal Shelter, and he would love to meet you.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please continue to visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Thursday.